The harsh dry season had stretched on for 3 long months in Serengeti National Park, Tanzania. Most of the animals had already migrated away from the parched grasslands, leaving behind only a few resilient creatures that had no choice but to endure. Under the bright sunlight, a solitary tree stood proudly in the middle of a vast yellow field. Though it was alone, this single tree still clung to life, its rare and precious green leaves standing out like emeralds against the dry earth. A herd of thirsty elephants had gathered around it. Using their trunks, they pulled down the young leaves from the branches, trying to make the most of every last one. They were clearly exhausted, sweating, slow, and desperate for nourishment. Meanwhile, the baby elephants, clumsy and innocent, played with their trunks, sniffing the soil and the fresh scent of the young leaves. But their mothers stayed vigilant. One of them gently nudged her curious calf back toward the center of the herd, instinctively guarding both the precious food and the safety of her young. Suddenly, from the horizon, a lone figure emerged. It was the silhouette of an old, skinny, male lion. He walked slowly toward the elephant herd, every step revealing his hunger and fatigue. His weathered face was marked with scars, and his wild, piercing eyes still burned with a fierce determination. The dry wind swept through his mane, making him appear even more haggard, a ghost of the predator he once was. He came to a halt and crouched down, carefully studying the elephant family from a distance. Even from far away, he could tell. The young elephant calf would be the easiest target. A flicker of purpose returned to his eyes. The lion lowered his body to the ground, waiting, watching. The elephants remained distracted, focused on pulling leaves from the branches. Meanwhile, the rumble of a ranger's car grew louder in the distance, the sound echoing closer and closer, but the old lion didn't notice it. His eyes were locked on the calf, and his instincts had taken over. As the young elephant wandered a few steps away from the herd, the lion saw his chance. The calf moved about curiously, exploring the dry, cracked land, the dew from the night still glistening faintly on the grass beneath its feet. It had no idea what was coming. The lion tensed his muscles, baring his fangs in anticipation. Hunger had stripped him of caution. Suddenly, the calf raised its head. It had noticed something, a strange presence. And just like that, it bolted, running away in fear. A low, rumbling roar broke across the plains. The lion sprang into action, racing after the baby elephant, cutting off its path of escape. The calf let out a high-pitched, terrified scream, a weak cry echoing through the dry wind. The lion was closing in. His heavy paws pounded the ground, dust rising behind him. Just as his fangs were about to sink into the calf's small shoulder, 2 loud alarm trumpets shattered the silence. From a distance, 2 adult elephants charged forward, trumpeting furiously as they rushed to protect the young. Their terrifying calls shook the air, sending panic through the plains. Without hesitation, the father elephant swung his powerful trunk with full force, like a battering ram, and launched the lion high into the air. The predator spun through the sky, his eyes wide with confusion and terror. He landed hard, tumbling across the dusty ground. Blood began soaking into his golden-gray fur. Before he could recover, the mother elephant was on him. She stomped on, his back with merciless power. The lion let out a pained growl beneath the crushing weight of her fury. He tried to fight back, but his body could no longer respond. The father elephant joined in, relentless. He pummeled the injured lion again and again. Dust rose into the air with every strike. The mother's massive step sent tremors through the ground. It was a storm of rage and protection, revenge for the scent of blood that had threatened her child. The baby elephant stood at a distance, eyes wide with fear and confusion. It didn't yet understand what was happening, or how close it had come to danger. Each stomp, each thrust, shook the earth around them. Only when the lion collapsed completely, his body limp and unresponsive, did the 2 adult elephants finally Stop! The lion, desperate to live, somehow found the strength to lift himself and began to limp away, his body broken, his pride shattered. But the elephants weren't finished. The mother and father rushed forward again, pinning him down under the weight of their trunks. Crushed and exhausted, the lion passed out right there on the dry grass. Only then did the elephants return to their herd, hurrying back to the baby elephant who had narrowly escaped death. Soon, the sound of horse hooves began to echo in the distance, mixing with the cold, dry wind sweeping across the plains. The old lion slowly regained consciousness. He stood weakly, trembling, with blood still dripping down his sides. His once proud mane now hung in a tangled, disheveled mess. In a moment of stillness, he looked up at the blue-gray sky, dazed and speechless. Just then, the sound of a vehicle's engine broke the silence. A Land Rover pulled up not far from where he stood. Two men stepped out, Michael Thompson and Kwame Njoroge, seasoned conservation rangers with years of experience in the Serengeti. They immediately recognized the old, injured lion lying helplessly in the open. The reserve cared deeply for its wildlife, even for predators that others might call dangerous. Slowly and calmly, the two men approached. They knew better than to startle him. The lion tilted his head, revealing his sharp, worn-down fangs. His eyes were still fierce, but he didn't attack. He was tired, broken. On his right shoulder, a deep wound bled openly, soaking into his fur. Michael headed to the back of the Land Rover and grabbed the medical kit. Kwame knelt beside the lion, gently holding its massive head as he cleaned the wound. Michael quickly got to work bandaging it. Their movements were calm, practiced. They made the lion feel something he hadn't known in a long time: safety. After dressing the injury, they injected him with painkillers and medicine to help him recover. All around them, the dry grassland had gone silent. It was as if the entire Serengeti was holding its breath. 15 minutes passed. The medicine began to work. Slowly, the lion's strength started returning. With a sudden burst of energy, he stood up, shaky, but alive. His eyes, once full of pain, now glimmered faintly with hope. He let out a soft roar. Not a threat, but something else, something like gratitude. Michael gave a quiet nod, packing up the supplies and heading back to the car. Kwame checked the wound once more before joining him. And just like that, the lion was alone again. But this time, not without hope. As the ranger truck disappeared into the shimmering heat of the horizon, the old lion remained still, watching. His once haggard eyes now held something deeper. Not just survival, but understanding. The wind whispered through the tall golden grass, brushing against his scarred body like a gentle memory. In the distance, the low hum of wildlife began to stir again. The birds returned to the sky. A lone wildebeest trotted far across the plain. Even the dry earth, cracked from months of relentless heat, seemed to hold on with new hope. That lion, once forgotten, once close to death, now carried a story that would ripple through the reserve like the wind through acacia leaves. The rangers, who had seen it all, the struggle, the pain, the triumph, had witnessed not just a rescue, but a rebirth. It was a reminder that even the fiercest creatures need compassion, and even the loneliest predators carry within them a silent plea for a second chance. Back at the ranger station, Michael pinned a new photo on the board. A silhouette of the lion against the setting sun. Underneath, in careful handwriting, Kwame had scribbled, "Strength is not in the kill, but in the will to live, and the hands willing to help you rise again." In the days that followed, the tale of the old lion spread across villages and ranger outposts. Children drew pictures of the brave animal. Locals who once feared lions now looked at them with new eyes. The story became a symbol, a living message about coexistence, respect, and the silent but unbreakable bond between humans and the wild. And the lion, he kept wandering, No longer a desperate scavenger, but a silent guardian of the plains. Every once in a while, he would appear near the rangers' patrol routes, not to attack, but to observe, to remember. Maybe in his own way he was watching over them too. So the next time you hear the low growl of a lion in the distance, or catch a glimpse of a golden mane swaying in the dry wind, think of this story. Remember that out there, under the blazing African sky, lives a lion who once roared with pain, and now roars with pride. Thank you again, dear friends, for joining us on this unforgettable journey. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who loves animals as much as we do. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so we can continue bringing you these incredible tales of the animal kingdom. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep protecting the wild.